Well, hello. Let me get you guys added. One moment. Hey, Mike. Hey, Otto. Hey, Peng. I'm just trying to get you all added. I think Otto can now successfully talk. So, Otto, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Howdy doody. This is me successfully talking after not talking for a very, very long time. So, yeah, hi. Hi, good to see everyone. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, I've had better weeks, but
Yeah,
life keeps going. The world keeps turning.
it does. It
We've
keeps spinning regardless, doesn't it?
It really, really does. We've got Paul with us today as well, which is lovely. Hey, Paul. Nice to see you here. And now we've got Peng and Mike able to talk, which is even better. So, Peng, good afternoon. Is it just me, or I can't hear what Peng's saying at all? Can anyone
No,
else?
no, I can't hear either. Have another go, Peng. See if you can say hello.
Nope, not a word.
Do you want to try leaving and coming back? That might help. Sometimes Twitter does this. It's such a pain. Absolutely infuriating. Well, that went well, didn't it? We're getting off to a good start. Do you think we should go and run a crypto exchange? I mean, if this is how things go for us, I don't know. Mike, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm at work, so I might not be able to talk when asked, but I will try to jump in when I can. Hope you're well.
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, not too bad. I'm also hiding in a conference room, but it's all good because I blocked the time out in my calendar. I did everything properly, so it's
I'm in
all
the
good.
kitchen, so I'm working from home, so that's but
Oh,
just
very
in case
nice.
someone needs me. Yeah.
Of course, no, fully understood that. Fully understood. Ah, dear. So another Friday, another drama, right? I mean, by the time we get round to doing a space, the drama cycle has already moved on to quite a ridiculous degree. I'm going to try adding Peng again, and then we'll get started. We've already got quite a few familiar faces. So, hello Dodsicle, hello Fred, hello Grow the Revolution, hello BB, Static, Azerti, Jag, and we've got Velo and Sankura. So lovely to see you all, and Liza as well. Awesome. Liza, who I narrowly missed meeting at NFT London last week. The less said about NFT London, the better, I think. But hey, it's all good. We're back to the normal day-to-day Twitter drama now. So, without further ado, let's get into it because I don't want to keep people hanging on. Huge amounts has been happening over the last few days. Absolutely crazy times. I mean, let's run through a little bit of the background real quick for anyone who's not fully aware. So, FTX. FTX was the second biggest exchange. I say was because, it's not anymore. And they also had a hedge fund called Alameda, and that's kind of where the trouble started. Now, way back when FTX was founded, Binance was an early investor in FTX. They invested early on, and then later down the line, they sold their stake. And this is where it starts to go wrong, because when they sold their stake, they were partially paid off in tokens, FTT tokens, which were the special token for the FTX marketplace. So they've got these $2 billion worth of FTT tokens. Okay, fair enough. Now, that gave them a certain amount of power. Alameda, the hedge fund, was very highly leveraged. That is absolutely normal for hedge funds. All hedge funds are highly leveraged. It's, by definition, it's high risk financial activity. That's literally what they do. But in the case of Alameda, their collateral was largely in these FTT tokens as well. Now, CoinDesk published an article questioning Alameda's balance sheets. CZ, who runs Binance, he then later put out a tweet saying, I'm going to sell my $2 billion worth of FTT tokens. And that, of course, caused everything to go horribly wrong, because when a whale says they're going to dump a token, the price of the token is going down fast. Everybody starts selling, everybody starts panicking and withdrawing their money from the exchange. And then, of course, you have a liquidity crunch. It is perfectly normal. This is basically a bank run. This happens in the fiat world as well. We saw it in the UK with Northern Rock. 2008, we've seen all of this before. If you put money in the bank to save it up, the bank doesn't hold that money. They lend it out to somebody else for a greater interest rate. That is literally their business model. So if everybody tries to withdraw their money at the same time, you have a liquidity crunch, you have a bank run. And that's basically what's happened here. So what's this done? This has caused the price of ETH and Bitcoin went, plummeting right down. You had a lot of people panicking, looking back at what happened with Luna a few months ago. It just caused a crisis of confidence in the market yet again. So that's the background to everything that's gone on this week. I don't know if any of the other speakers want to add any detail to that. Don't all shout at once. I don't even know if Pen can actually talk yet. Pen, can you speak now?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Oh, finally. That was my own fault. I was using a webcam with a microphone earlier to talk to somebody and forgot to switch my mic back.
Fair enough. So, do you have anything to add? Did I cover the basic facts of what went on with FTX sufficiently, or have I missed anything?
No, I think you've got most of it. I want to believe that they're going to try and at least save investors from to keep them from losing as much as possible. Based on what Sam posted on Twitter yesterday. But man, people are going at his throat. So I don't know how it's all going to play out.
I would, sorry, I would just like to add the classic to crypto environment. The all drama started because someone decided, hang on, I'm going to do something and announce it to all the millions of followers. And I find this is why everything I found in an NFT on a crypto world is kind of magnified, is because people tend to announce it to a huge amount of people, and because it's kind of people follow other people and they believe the word is a gospel. And I think that kind of causes a bit of a problem, that if it wasn't, it happened very quickly because someone stirred the pot very quickly and very apparently not intentionally, but I think it's kind of, you need to be aware of the consequences if you do this. Is social media, everything goes viral. But I think when this happened for me, I was like, this is classic Twitter kind of shitstorm, when you do stuff like that and it all collapses in minutes.
Hang on though, this was a clearly deliberate move. This was about eliminating a competitor, plain and simple. Because if you're holding, $2 billion worth of tokens and you are a huge whale, you know that what you say is going to move the market because you have that power. If you dump that token, it's going down. It was a deliberate move, absolutely deliberate. And would that even meet the definition of market manipulation? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I think it was quite clearly a move designed to eliminate the competition or get revenge.
I think it's because I'm not a lawyer. I said allegedly. I know that.
Oh yeah,
much.
allegedly. Sorry, allegedly. Peng, you want to come in here?
So if I'm not mistaken here, so CZ started this because Sam was talking to regulators and then started this whole thing. And now it looks like I know, like, they froze assets in the Bahamas for FTX. The California is investigating FTX for apparent fraud, possibly. So regulators are starting to get involved now. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for the rest of crypto.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you go back to the ICO days in 2017, the regulators came in fast and hard, and they've essentially learned from that because there were a lot of prosecutions and some of them fell apart. I think what they've been doing for the last couple of years is standing back and watching. But that era of us basically getting away with this Wild West bullshit, I think it's going to start coming to an end, whether we like that or whether we dislike it. Certainly for anybody who's had their finances affected by this, it's a brutal situation. And if there's some means that some kind of authority can help them get their money back, am I against that? I mean, how can you be, really? It's a really difficult one. Kind of getting a little bit off more into the moral side of it rather than the facts of what happened or speculating about what might happen. But Mike, I think you were trying to come back in.
Yeah, I was just saying on the back of what you said, that actually someone posted, maybe centralized is not all bad. And in situations like this, the people have the I think this was, you're talking about ICO, and there is still this, was a queen, crypto queen. She's still on the run. No one can find her, and she scams so many people. And I think decentralization and regulators coming in a way is to deter people from keep doing it. So maybe on the back of this, we're going to have less rogue and less scams. Obviously, there will be cleverer, but yeah, I think there was always this, oh no, they're coming into regulators, but they're coming in to protect us a bit as well. So I think scaremongery is not good, and that's how it's trying to be presented.
Hey, if I could jump in here for a second. So apparently here in the U.S. this morning, there's a lawmaker who's claiming that the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, was coordinating with FTX to obtain some sort of regulatory monopoly as they're working on the regulations for crypto.
Wow. Well, that explains a lot then. It would certainly explain what motivated this whole scenario to take place. I mean, Christ. Now, that's an interesting one, isn't it? But again, it causes this turmoil in the markets, doesn't it? And then, of course, there's opportunities there because, you know, those that are clever at watching these things, they watch, they wait for it to go down, they buy, it comes back up again, they sell, they make a profit. There's always money to be made for somebody in these times. It's just, you know, the guys that get wrecked because they had their cash on the exchange. Now, I'm not convinced that it's ever a good idea to hold your funds on an exchange. I wouldn't do it personally. You know, exchanges are there for exchanging, and then you get your stuff out and you store it safely. Got a speaker request coming in. I'm going to let Velo come up. But yeah, it's turbulent times for all of us. And what it means really is that the attention, the money, the confidence, all of that is gone at the minute. I mean, I posted marketplace statistics for Foundation and Object earlier in the week, and everything's ground to a halt from the art side of things. I mean, you can directly trace the same thing happening when Luna crashed. It was the exact same thing. And for those of us that are trying to make a living in this space as artists, we kind of just have to accept it. You know, this is the ecosystem we operate in, and when this shit happens, it is what it is. Mike, you want to come back?
Yeah, I just want to say on this one, because someone posted, you know, this is all happening from a crypto space. And I realized that in the NFT world as an artist, I think we just get used to it. Shit's happening. Who's going to be affected? Us. And we just, crack on is another one. So I think there is even those darker days, because it feels like it wiped out the whole space. But actually, when you look at the artist, we're still here, we're still shit posting, we're still having fun, despite this being like the darkest time again. But it's just like, another one. So crack on.
Exactly that. And I think, unfortunately, people miss the key point here. This was an issue of management and bad governance, you know, not setting your business up in a sensible way. Leaving yourself vulnerable to this shit is incompetence, pure and simple. It was the same things that happened to the banks in 2008, you know, the same degree of incompetence and just things that weren't structured as well as they should have been to prevent this happening. You take the Bernie Madoff example. He was apparently running a hedge fund, but actually it was never a hedge fund. It was a scam. It was a Ponzi. Does that mean all hedge funds are bad? No. You know, it's not crypto that's the issue here. It's stupidity is my take on it. Velo, you came up to the stage. Do you have something to add at this point?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about this a little bit because it sounded like, at least early on, you were talking about, you know, kind of CZ and Binance doing this to eliminate the competition. But I mean, the big thing I've noticed kind of halfway following this a little bit is, you know, FTX was basically just using a token they created as collateral, and just, you know, it just seems like the definition of a Ponzi scheme. So if it wasn't exposed, you know, would it have been worse to just let this continue? I mean, one good thing about Binance, I don't like to see them capture more and more of the market, but they do have, you know, large reserves, unlike a lot of crypto businesses.
You're making a really, really good point, actually. And of course, it's speculation to say that they wanted to eliminate the competition. In some ways, I think you could make the argument that overall it's a good thing that this kind of thing gets exposed. It just is a bit of a shame the way it happened, the little guys getting wrecked, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But it sounds a lot more like, you know, as you dig into it, that FTX was not so much incompetence as just a, you know, deliberate scam.
Now, that is interesting. And we should probably put the word allegedly in, since it's a recorded space. But yeah, allegedly, I think you've got a good point there.
Allegedly, deliberately.
Mike, you want to come back in? Go for it, mate.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I was listening on the radio yesterday when all this happened, and there was a fantastic comment from a BBC economical editor saying that basically if you strip everything out of crypto, what it boils down to is the fear of missing out and fear of looking like an idiot. That's why people are trying to they were trying to excuse it to save it. And what Velo actually said is it might be overall, it's a shame for people who lost money, but maybe once they all collapse, we will be left with something that's sustainable and actually more protective. So that's a fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the bottom line is the technology does have its uses. It really does. I mean, it's a lot easier for me if I want to send money to Peng, for example. A lot easier to do that with crypto than it is to try and do a transfer, through the normal means and pay stupid fees for it. There's a lot to be said, and that's just one very, very obvious example. Anyway, I'm thinking, do we want to move the conversation on and talk about the changes at Twitter, or do we want to carry on with this? Does anyone else want to come up and talk about the FTX part of things, or shall we move on and talk a bit about Twitter? Gone. So let's talk a bit more, because obviously crypto and Twitter are the background to our existence here. We've talked a bit about all the crypto chaos that's been going on. Now let's talk about the chaos at Twitter. Oh my dear God, Elon comes in, fires half the staff, tells them they can't work from home anymore, upsets everybody who's a bit of a lefty, pisses off a load of advertisers, has most of his senior team quit that hadn't already been fired, and it is just chaos. Or at least that's the narrative they're selling us in the media. I think the media is just taking the excuse for a nice, juicy story, to be honest. You certainly expect changes when an executive team changes over and you get a very different management style coming in. The interesting points that are relevant to us, they want everyone to get Twitter Blue. They want us to pay the $8 a month or whatever it is. And there are a bunch of benefits potentially to that. The key thing really is why. They say Twitter is losing $4 million a day at present. The advertising model isn't working for them, and with the global downturn, they expect advertising revenues to decrease further. And Elon is reported as saying to the staff yesterday that bankruptcy is a real it's a really something that could happen. And that is a concern. Now, for those of us that live our lives on the platform, that's an issue. There is also a secondary issue as well of where else would we go, So that's kind of the question for everyone. And also, should we pay for the Twitter Blue? Is it worth it? I'm thinking I probably will, actually, because I like the idea of being up the top of the replies list, getting more visibility. Because right now, obviously, engagement sucks and it's really hard to even get seen. So anyway, that's the general scenario. I'm going to open it up to anyone on the floor to contribute.
So, Otto, sorry, I just jumped in because I did sheep in a paid for the blue tick, but for a very different reason. And I think this is something that, how we are. There is this trend that you don't really post the links because they don't pull very well. Twitter's not really good when it comes to extract artworks and stuff. And I didn't know that actually with Twitter Blue, you can upload videos with a 1080p and up to 4K quality resolution. So one of the reasons was because I'm doing videos now, if that's going to improve the quality of what I'm presenting, because we are in the visual space, solely this thing, like the blue check doesn't matter because that's not the reason, but there is a few other benefits, same as the boost and common replies. But I think that's why, for me, the ability to present my work, and I know someone's going to say, oh, it was there available before, but I couldn't do it. So I think when there was the first time when the NFT profile things show up, that you can have your PFP as NFT from your wallet, I couldn't, I think it wasn't open for everyone. And now the blue is. So that's why I thought, okay, I spent $6.99 in worst situations, like I've wasted it. So I think I'm just going to give this a go and see how it works, because ultimately I know there is lots of hate towards it, but if I'm going to worry again in my life about someone else's opinion on what I do, and that's going to stand in the way of what I want to do, I think, fuck it. I think this space, I'm just too tired to care about it. If someone hates to it, it's your choice. If it helps me with promoting my work and making it better, making it look better in a visual space, and we do visual art, why not? And if I get the blue check next to it and someone new comes to the space, I feel important.
Beautiful. I think I'm with you on that, actually, and it's really important to highlight the other benefits. Apart from having your comments and your replies boosted, having that extra quality on videos, and we know video content gets the best engagement. Now, better videos hopefully will get better engagement, and otherwise, why are we spending our time here if we're not going to give it our best shot? And of course, finances are tight for most people, but it's not a huge amount of money, and they have said that the cost will be adjusted based on cost of living globally. It won't be $8 in countries where $8 is a lot of money. So that's something really, really good. And certainly as soon as they roll it out for Android, I think I am going to have a go, unless I hear something in this room that changes my mind. I will point out as well that in the audience, we've got Paul, who has the tick already. Paul has moved right to the top of the space. He is the first person I can see. But anyway, 3 hands up. So I think Otto was next. Go for it, Otto.
Cheers, Ella. Yeah, fascinating story. This all this Twitter development, and I can't help feeling I'm sure Elon Musk just overpaid for Twitter. I think was it $44 billion. I think he paid for it. I mean that's a colossal amount of money. So I'm sure this checkmark business is going some way for him to return his get his return on investment. And I was actually reading the other day how, I don't know if there's any truth to this, about the Twitter employees selling check marks round the back door for $15,000 a piece. And it kind of got me thinking about what happens when everybody gets the check mark. Are we all going to return to basically the same as we are without it? What value will it have if everybody's got one? Where's the where are the value lines going to be drawn? Because if that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to get everybody to have a check mark, then aren't we all going to be the same in the end, the same way we are now without them? I mean, am I missing something? I mean, I'd really like to get to the bottom of that one, because there just seems to be a big push for it. But in a year's time, when we've all got a check mark, what happens then?
Really good point. But the people that are running bot farms are not going to pay for 100 blue checks for their bot farm. I think that's the point. So if we've all got blue ticks and we're all talking to each other, at least we won't hopefully be getting all this noise from the multitude of shit accounts basically that are pumping out crap. But yeah, good point. Now, this is the bit where I get a little bit awkward because everybody's hand is up. I think I'm going to go to Peng next. And then I genuinely can't remember after that. But anyway, Peng, you're up.
Yeah, actually, Otto covered a little bit of what I wanted to say there. So I don't use Apple products, and 70% of the world doesn't use Apple products. So I wish they would have rolled it out to everybody equally. That would have been nice, so that us Android and PC users would have had the opportunity to jump in right now as well, because I totally would, just for the benefits that it gives you. But then I question, once everybody has a blue check mark, nobody's going to be prioritized over anybody else anymore, and then we're right back where we're at now. So is it really just a ploy to create a paid model for Twitter?
I think so, but I also think that those who jump on it early will get a competitive advantage while everybody else catches up. So if you're looking to turbocharge your engagement, boost your following, get ahead of the pack, you've got a head start basically. I mean, I am so pissed I can't do it on Android. I really, really am, because I'm talking to you now on a work phone. The Apple store that this account links to is it's my work account. Don't think I could get away with expensing it. Just saying. Anyway, who was next? I think it might have been Sankira. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Please tell me if I'm wrong.
Hi, Ella. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry for the noise in the background, and I'll be quick because I'm at the airport waiting for a flight. So thank you for calling me up, and thank you for hosting this space. It's very interesting. And yes, you pronounced my name correctly. It's Sankira, but that's a pseudonym. My real name is Sanya. Okay. And I just want to add that, yeah, I agree with all of you. It's unfair the way they rolled out. There are geographic disadvantages, and also users of Android can only use it so far. I'm based in France, so I can't use the blue tick yet. So that's annoying as well. And what I'm thinking is that this is just a request in general, a thought that I had for the community, that during this, I'm sure this is a transition period and eventually everyone will be able to have a blue tick mark. But in the time being, this is where I think, the power of the community can come in, and those with tick marks can help other artists with reach by retweeting their work. So hopefully, I hope that artists who do have the tick mark, it's a request here that, if you could help your friends this way, because I mean, this is community is, the reason we are existing despite the crypto crash and with all the PFP projects, just getting rugged and not being in action anymore. We are here because of each other and our art. So if the community can help each other during this period, it would be great. And coming to the question about, what will happen if everyone has blue tick marks, what's next? I think what's going to happen is what already happens in the airline industry. You'll have a silver tick mark, the possibility to purchase a golden tick mark and a platinum tick mark. Who knows? I think they'll just go crazy from there on. And I don't believe the cost will remain at $8 per month forever. Probably in a matter of a year or two, it might go up. So that's another thing to consider as well, if you want to continue
Very,
using Twitter.
those are all really, really excellent points. And yeah, absolutely. I think it is a good thing. We should be supporting each other. It is unfair. But I'm really interested in what you said. I mean, because didn't Netflix do that? They kept Netflix cheap for a very, very long time. And then suddenly they hiked the prices. And lots of people, like myself included, just went, no thanks, can't be bothered with that anymore. But others carried on paying for it because that's what they wanted. Goodness me, so many hands up. Do you want to come back really quick and then we'll go to the next one?
Sure. Thank you, Ella. Regarding Netflix, actually, I saw an advertisement recently with literally half the price for new subscribers. So I think them increasing their price is kind of backfired. So for people who want to sign up for Netflix for the first time, they are offering at literally €6 a month, something like that. So I don't know. It's really silly. But yeah, that's a bit about Netflix. And thank you so much for inviting me up. I'd love to hear what others have to say. And bye, everyone.
And have a safe flight. Thank you so much for speaking. It's lovely to speak with you for the first time. Mike had his hand up as one of our regular panelists. You always get priority, my friend. Look, there you go. How about that for favouritism?
I know, blue tick. So, a few things on the back of this. So, like you were saying, I think the sad reality of the world that it's unfair. Not everyone will be able to get a blue tick. That's, I think, let's be honest. This is never going to happen for everyone. Like we know, the people are banned from OpenSea. People cannot access specific platforms. That is the reality of the world. Second thing, if we all stay here, give a blue tick, I don't mind if every single video I see is in a good quality. I don't mind if every single artwork I see is in a pristine condition. I think that's okay. If you're going to boost everyone each other, that's amazing. Like, we all have superpower. In terms of as well, one of the reasons why I kind of thought about the blue tick, and this is something actually that's going to be sad, I thought about then my retweet will have a bigger outreach if I get the blue tick verified. My recent retweet the pin post dead. It doesn't affect engagement. It affects it when you respond to people. So in terms of how it's the visibility of it, it doesn't really help, but still worth trying. And I'm always going to give this a go. And then the last thing about this is that I deeply believe how unprofitable Twitter is and the blue tick coming in. And as you kind of said, given the different levels of platform, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future, Twitter will become a paid platform that you have to pay to get onto it. And then, as you said, with Netflix, people will be like, no. But because they know the audience, think about people who do NFTs, people who do OnlyFans even. You market through here and they hold people tight in terms of where do we going to go. We can go anywhere but Discord. Please don't go Discord. But all the platforms are already there. And is Instagram good for NFTs? Not really. Is TikTok? Again, not really. Discord, good for community. So I think overall, and knowing how Musk is based on what we've seen of him as a businessman, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing. He obviously does a lot of drama, throwing stuff in because that's Elon. But from a business perspective, I think he's already got a plan, and we're just going to see it unfold in a midst of chaos that he always creates. So that's my take on that.
I'd agree with that. I think the platform has an outsized relevance because of just how much politicians and media personalities use it. So it's not just social media. It's very heavily embedded in these key power centres in the Western world, you know. And for that reason alone, I think you're always going to have that core user base. And of course, Elon, you know, his track record suggests that he is going to make a success of it. You're absolutely right. I don't want to take up too much airtime with so many people wanting to speak. Oh my goodness!
Just real quick, I pinned up. Apparently, they've already suspended the blue check subscriptions. Just wanted to drop that little tidbit I saw this morning already.
Do you know what? Thank you for sharing that. I mean, normally I'd go mental at being interrupted, but you know, you're quite right. Actually, that was a very welcome interruption because we needed to hear that. So they've suspended paid verification because of impersonation abuse. Wow. Well, you know, there's some people with hands up, so we'll continue going round because we're not going to suspend the queuing system. We are mostly British on this call, so let's carry on forming an orderly queue. Who is next? I think it was Velo. So Velo, you go quick, and then it's Funky and Riyadh.
Yeah, I was going to reference what we just saw in the pinned tweet, but and the other thing is that I think they're bringing back the official gray check mark for accounts that are, you know, that are really verified. So like that was the issue I had with the whole thing was like, if you want to have people pay for priority, that's fine. But like all these impersonator accounts were making the point. It's like you can just take the name of a celebrity or a politician or a company and tweet a bunch of crazy stuff and you have a little check mark there that makes it seem real. So, you know, they needed to delineate between like what were originally the intent of like the verification was that if it's coming from, you know, a known figure, you know that it's actually that person or company.
Absolutely right. I mean, there's the potential for reputational damage is huge. It really, really is. And I think they had to do it. I'm sure they'll figure it out though, because there has to be differentiation between verified in the old sense of the word and paid premium user. Those are two different groups of people, and kind of blurring the boundaries there, I think, was probably a bad move.
I mean, they had announced that it was actually going to replace the verification, so it wasn't, you know, at one point Elon was saying, you know, everyone's going to have the opportunity to be verified, but it sounds like they're walking that back, which is good because once everyone's verified, no one's verified.
Absolutely. No, I totally take your point there. Funky, you've been waiting for ages, so sorry to keep you waiting, my friend. How are you?
Hey, hello, Pang, how's everybody doing?
Still alive?
Yeah, everybody's still here. I love it. Love to see it. Yeah, so for the conversation topic, I think we all forget about something. Content is king, right? Whether or not you have a blue check or not, isn't gonna matter in the long run. If you think about things, if you're putting shit content out there, you got a blue check mark, you're gonna get buried. So my thought was always, I don't think I need it if I'm putting quality content out there. So, you know, verified, unverified, you know, million followers, 100 followers, content is king. It always will be, especially in the formats that I think we've mentioned, video, easy to digest, you know, mediums that are catchy, engaging, and make people think, right? Whether it's negatively or positively. That's always going to be the key here, guys. So I think I'm going to save the $8, and I'm hearing now that he's suspended. I looked on that is actually true with ABC reporting on it. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't get into it because I feel it was like a waste of money if I was not going to put out good content. What's the point, right?
It's a really interesting take on it. I mean, I agree with you 1000% about content is king, though. I do like what Mike was saying about being able to post higher quality videos. You know, those of us that here as artists, some of us are really picky about the quality of the stuff they put out. I mean, I would get so annoyed if I did an image and then it got garbled somehow when I tweeted it. You know, I would be fuming. Even if that tweet got 100 likes, I would be deleting it. You know, because I'm just difficult like that. But yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. No point having a blue check if you're talking shite. Simple as that. AI Joe, did you want to respond real quick before we go to Riyadh? I'm sorry, we kind of skipped over you before.
Yeah, no problem. I feel like I'm interrupting, so I apologize. But the rumor I had heard is that, like he was saying about differentiating between them, the actual ones will have the word official in blue underneath them, I think was their general idea. So they are planning on differentiating between the two.
That's really good to hear, because I would not like to see my friend Mike get rugged. That would be terrible. You pay your money and then you get all your thing taken away. You know, what's that about? Oh my goodness me. Riyadh, sorry, you've been waiting for ages as well, mate. Why don't you give us your thoughts?
Hey Ella, how are you? Miss you, Ella. So this was lovely space. Yeah, say how are you? You open the mic and then I talk as usual. Go ahead.
No, honestly, I'm having some issues with my mute button. I didn't mean to do that. So please go ahead, my friend.
Love you. So it's really lovely, and I'm checking all of the people. So many people started to have check marks. So the main question, seriously, if I'm a collector, I'm sitting and suddenly I see some people just like requesting, and they had check mark, and double check the art. The art it's crap. Shall I collect it? Of course no. It's really simple. So what's the concept? You have a check mark for God's sake while you don't have value, for God's sake. So let's make it simple, guys. It's not about the check mark that you have it. It's not about anything. Even if you go to profile and you press on it, it will give you the reason why this person has check mark. So if you press on it, you will see, okay, this man has check mark because he is doing X, doing Y, doing Z. Then if you press on it, he had check mark because he had paid to Twitter Blue. Okay, great. So you had a check mark because you have Twitter Blue. What's the benefit? Seriously, you will have more sales? No. You will be in the first line to talk? No. So what's the concept? It's only a check mark. You have it next to your name. You can go to username and put any symbol you want to have it next to your name, and that's it. It's simple. So it's a marketing trick, just like all of the people what they do it just to make people pay and have some cash in their pocket. Sometimes if you want to have some cash, just like the marketplaces, if you have super rare, if you have unknown origin, they want to pick the unique artists and bring them to the speaker and bring them there, and then they will have some contracts with some collectors. Those collectors, they only collect on super rare, and there's the under table contracts, and they will come and collect from this artist. So this is type of marketing, guys. No one get involved in it because it's shitty. In the end, as usual, what's happened, if you double check foundation before, there were invitation and people were killing to have some invitation just to sell their art and do all of this stuff. So don't pay attention to this stuff. Focus on the value that you have it. Focus on the art that you have it. Once you have it, everything will be fine. You will have sales, and you will not need this check mark just to make yourself special, because no one is special if he in original situation don't have value in the whole situation. So this is what I want to say. And as a small tiny help, actually I have amazing grandmother and she doesn't have a check mark. Anyone can tell me how can I give her check mark? Because my neighbor actually had a check mark this morning and I need some help, to be honest. I want to give her a check mark. She will be really happy with this. She is not an artist, but she makes little drama in the house and make all of that stuff. So maybe we can make her happy. Okay? It's only I have to pay the subscription, guys. Great. So maybe I can pay and get her check mark. Love you.
Riyadh, you always make me laugh. I think you're in agreement with Funky Dancing Onion. Content is king. But it's worth pointing out these status symbols, like if you go out and about and you're wearing a Rolex watch and a really sharp suit and fancy shoes, you will be treated a whole lot better than the guy who's standing there in his tatty old jeans and trainers, you know? People are fooled by status symbols. There is our brains, the way they work. We take shortcuts. You know, we are all susceptible to these cognitive biases, and things that indicate status in that way do have an impact. And there's no point denying it because it's proven. Now, obviously, those that take the time to stop and think and judge people, like you were saying, they look through your profile, they see that you paid for your check mark instead of, you know, earning it from being a notable person. You know, those are a small percentage of people, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
We have loads of hands up again. Who's not had a chance to speak? I think Hype
Can I
Man
add
has.
something? Can I
Hey,
add something, Ella?
yeah,
Something
you
fast.
go for it.
Okay. If you want to be serious with something, we are artists. So everyone, once you are listening to someone, from few words, you will understand that this man, he knows what he's doing and he is not. So I believe in first impression. It's really amazing. So you are starting to judge people just from his look, from his mark or something. Trust me, it's not working, especially if the person is little deep. Not all of the people shallow and they look only to check mark or look only to the name, and according to that they started to collect. Many people, if they want to invest and put a huge amount of money, he will study the person, and I see it by my eyes. He will not spend 1 ETH on someone if he doesn't believe that this man has value in the end. So it's not something coming by fast and all of this stuff.
No, I totally take your point. I'm just saying that there is this function of how our minds work, that we respond differently to people based on how they are presented. And that is just a fact. Now, of course, we shouldn't think like that, but we physically don't have the time to sit there and analyze every single person in huge amounts of detail. You see somebody casual glance and you make up your mind about them in a number of different ways. But anyway, I'm getting so far off topic. Don't get me started on psychology, guys. We'll be here forever. Hype Man, you've been waiting to speak for absolutely ages. Please come in.
No, it's not been that long. I've just been chilling. Seeing, hearing that. I think, I like to propose a different viewpoint, and I feel like, often in these conversations it can be one-sided, but at the very least, I can kind of like say my own experience when it comes to say followers or like gaining a check mark. There's been many times where I've figured out how to engagement farm and build a follower count right on an account. So whether that be on Instagram, on Twitter, and even I ran up this account to 10k, and if I would have kept running it up, it would have been 20, 30, 40k. And so believe you me, I'm definitely not the kind of guy that looks into I don't give a shit. All right, blue check mark, not, but there is a very huge subsect of people that will look at an account and be like, oh, 50k followers, oh, 100k followers, oh, blue check mark, oh, verified. And I think the issue that Elon is addressing, and I don't know if this is I don't know. Yeah, doesn't seem to be mentioned that often, but there's a lot of accounts, at least I'm sure you guys have seen it, right? You hashtag NFT and you get some verified account responding to you, engaging with you, and you're like, oh, this must not be a fake account because it's got a blue check mark, and you go and check them out and they've got 100k followers, but then it looks like everything they're posting is very spammy, and you can tell straight away, right, most of us can figure out a bot from a real person engaging, actual putting actual content out there. And I think the issue that has been that Twitter is kind of played with, and I know this myself. So, the question is who gets verified, right? And so, unfortunately, it's not like Twitter is sitting there and they have a research team and they're scanning news and notable media and they're scouring every single community to give out check marks to people that have earned it. I mean, for the large part, it works. You need a PR agent or a manager or somebody who's well connected to get a blue check mark. Now, the problem is that the way that who that benefits in society is usually well-connected people with a lot of money, right? And so, in most cases, I know that I could have been verified 5 years ago, and I've been approached by these talent managers, but they want a percentage, they want 20%, and they want a fee of thousands of dollars. And yeah, and then again, even in the corrupt cases, you can pay thousands of dollars to get a check mark. So again, my kind of viewpoint to this, I've loved this. I love this. This whole blue check mark thing has come crumbling down. The status of it is kind of is expiring, and yeah, it, basically at the end of it all, right, is instead of a check mark costing thousands of dollars to you, which before you could get a check mark before if you really wanted to and you really wanted a status. It's not like the check mark was not, you weren't able to buy it for money. The problem is it costs a lot more, right? And so at least now, it's a bit more democratized, it's a bit more attainable. If you do want the check mark, you do want the little status symbol thing, again, to the normie person that's not on Twitter, you show it to your friend, or sometimes like even getting bookings, or a gallery, like a gallerist, right? Maybe a gallerist wants to show your work, but they're not on Twitter and they don't understand this whole Twitter blue thing. But you show them your account and you're like, oh wow, you're verified, and oh, you got 5K followers or 10K followers, wherever it is. So yeah, I think like I know Riyad's right. I know like all these other viewpoints are valid. Like most of us that are on this platform, that are immersed in it, we understand that the blue check mark has no value. But I think like for 90% of society that are not on Twitter, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna be kind of be impressed. And at least now it just costs $8 instead of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. It is more democratic than having to pay all that money. And you made some really, really good points there. And thank you so much for the contribution. So many hands are in the air now. I feel like I've got to move on because we have only 14 minutes left, which is annoying. I have to close really sharp at 4 o'clock. Mike, I think you were first. So we're going to go Mike, Peng, Rabid, and then Trey.
Okay, so I'm going to be quick. On the back of what Riyad was saying and Hype Mesh at the end, if you think that everyone gets the blue check for the status, then that's your opinion. And I think you should never, ever say and voice this saying, oh, you get the blue check for this one reason, because you might prevent some people who want to do it for a better quality of the content that they're producing, or maybe to start doing the content and kind of having that approach in a kind of, basically taking the piss out of people who try something doing it. I think it's not okay, and that's my opinion. If the blue check for you thinks that I'm getting it because I want to have more sales, that's your opinion, and that's your problem. I get it for my reasons, and quite frankly, it's no one else's business. And the problem with Twitter and community here is like there is always someone who's got a business in someone else's business, and this is, unfortunately, no blue checks will erase that. But what I hope deep down, and that was Hype was saying about people, I just really hope that all the bots accounts, they spend thousands of dollars to get this army of bots with the blue verified things, that at least now they're going to regret it because they overpaid. If that's all it comes to an end, I hope that this is what's going to happen.
That's a really, really good point. And you're absolutely right. Nobody's got the right to point the finger and make judgments about anyone else. Well, I suppose they're entitled to their opinion, but we're entitled to not care. And we're entitled to say we don't like it. So, yeah, good point, well made, Mike. Peng, you had your hand in the air. We're going to you next.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. Won't keep it too long. As far as status not really meaning anything, it absolutely does. This is why we have influencers who never collect, who have 100,000 followers, and everybody just kisses their ass. But we have real collectors who have 800 followers and can't get anybody to retweet anything they put out because status is king. It always has been, and it always will be, probably. And as far as the people who have a problem with Twitter Blue, so Twitter is a failing business as it stands right now. I mean, they're losing $4 million a day. Their financial figures are public information. You can look them up. It absolutely is a failing business. And if there's going to be some changes that are going to be made, and I mean, he overpaid for a business that is failing. So there's going to be some changes coming.
Excellent points. Absolutely excellent. Yeah, this is the thing. It's not a lie. When a company is public, the financials are public. And he bought it out and he took it private effectively, but still, these numbers are all out there for the world to see. And I've just realised now why your little penguin PFP has got a crown on. Are you penguin royalty?
I guess so. I don't know. Is there a penguin royalty?
Well, clearly, because you're wearing a crown, so you must be royalty, right? Anyway, on that cheerful note,
status symbols.
There you go. Your penguin is possibly a fake royal or possibly a real one. We're not sure. We'll have to ask the penguins. Anyway, Rabid, you're up next.
Good morning, everybody. I think we're looking at it from a different perspective, and if I may bring another perspective of the blue check mark not being a status symbol, the blue check mark being just a symbol for those who are doxxed and wish to be doxxed, and for it not to be an $8 a month fee, but like a one-time registration fee just for the manpower to actually check people's documentation and give them the blue mark. And then it becomes just a check mark to show that you're a doxed real person, and it's not a status symbol. And I think that would actually make a lot of sense if we did it that way.
But I think that's what it is, though, right? Because I mean, you had to give over credit information and information with that. So I think to some extent, that's basically what's ended up being.
Well, why are you charging $8 a month for that? No, he's trying to make revenue with that. He's not doing what he's saying. The way I said it would be like, okay, it costs money to verify people's documents, so a one-time fee, $20, $30, up to $50 even, like it makes sense. But charging every month for it, you don't need to verify people's documents every month, you know? So then it doesn't make sense. Then it becomes a status symbol. If it's a one-time fee, you're doxed, you got a blue check mark, you're good. That's it.
I mean, I don't want to. Sorry, Ella, you're the host. Sorry, I don't want to jump in.
No, you're all right, man. That was an interesting point. I just want to add to it. It's more than just a status symbol. They're offering utility. I mean, Mike was explaining about the stuff with videos, getting your comments and replies to the top of the list. Right now, everybody in this space with a little tick next to their name is at the top of the speaker, not the listener pile. So if I scroll down, I've got all the speakers at the top, and then I can see Ricky and Wildy at the top of the listeners.
But you see, that's the problem. The problem is that he's saying that the blue check mark will make everybody equal. But if right away you're telling me that this is the service and it will make your tweets more visible and everything else, it's contradictory to what he's saying. So again, you don't have the reoccurring fee, and you don't give privileges to the check mark. It's just to show that somebody's doxed and they can be trusted. That's it.
I see your point, actually. And I also see another utility of the blue check on a related point. It's also, bear in mind, we're building businesses here. We're selling stuff, you know, or becoming influencers or artists or running projects or whatever it is we do. Showing that you're prepared to commit enough, you know, to pay that fee, whatever that fee is, it sends a signal that, yes, I am committed to this. I'm not just messing about in my spare time and insisting on doing everything for free because I don't really care. It does also send that symbol as well. Hype Man, you wanted to respond, so please come back in and then we'll go to Trey.
I think Rabbit's got some great points, but I think like he's saying, Elon's saying that, but in my viewpoint, right, like I'm paying, so I should be ahead of you, right? Like end of the day, like paying for right, it's like a pro account almost, right? It's kind of like YouTube. You got YouTube Pro, you got YouTube regular, right? And like you don't want to pay for YouTube Pro, then watch the ads, right? And it's like in my opinion, right, I'm very happy to pay for a service if it's an affordable price, because one way or another, the platform needs to make money, right? And so like there's server costs involved, you know, you traffic, and you're uploading content, and like it costs a lot to run a platform. You know what I'm saying? Like
of course, it makes sense. But then what you're saying gives privilege to somebody else. Yeah, you're paying for something, but now it throws the whole system off. So I'm all good for paying and having a service, but it shouldn't be a check mark. It shouldn't create like status like that. You can have it on the back end. You don't have to show everybody you're paying for this service. You don't have to have a symbol like, oh, I'm paying for the service. You can pay it in quiet and get those privileges.
But why not? But like I don't see that,
because the check mark doesn't let you. It should be only a one thing to just give you the power of trust. This is the main thing that you want, that you can't even buy, right? To have trust in who you're dealing with, to have trust who's behind that account, and you can pay a one-time fee for that and get that check mark. Everything else is a different business.
Rabbit, I absolutely agree with you, but the thing is, that's what checkmark used to be and what we used to be. And now with the new business model for Twitter, I think the blue checkmark will change. And that's why it's not the same. My checkmark is not the same as being verified. It's because I pay for Twitter Blue. Maybe they don't have any other way at the moment to make a differentiation. But as Riyad said, if you click on the blue checkmark, you will say that subscribe to Twitter Blue. So that is probably the way they can do it. There was like a bonus to free. And then at the other point, life is fucking unfair. And that's it. And I agree with Hype. If I pay for it, if I get the blue check mark, fucking roll with it. I'm not going to pay $8.99. So, like, I think there is this being humble. And what Ella said, one of the spaces, be kind and be humble. Sometimes is a way of saying, oh, shut up, back in a box and back in a line. And sometimes that needs to change.
I hear you guys completely. I was just offering a different perspective. Thank you for listening. Cheers.
No, that's excellent. And this is what makes these spaces good, when we actually have legit, genuine debate. I mean, I hate it when everybody agrees. It just becomes a pointless exercise. So, no, this has been fantastic to listen to, guys. Thank you, all of you, for just chipping in and throwing all your opinions about. And we are tight for time. I legit do have to finish in 5 minutes, and Trey's not had a chance to talk yet. So, only because of that, we're going to move to Trey. But otherwise, we would just let this run because it's fascinating. So, Trey, go ahead, my friend.
Fantastic conversation, and I'll be so quick because I know Hype has his hand up too, and I also agree it's great to hear contrasting opinions. For me, I'm looking at it from a bird's eye view. Honestly, I don't give a shit what anybody else does. If you wanted a tick next to your name, that's completely your opinion. That's your prerogative. And I have no business giving two shits or two thoughts about that. And if I'm being honest, I mean, I don't have a check mark next to my name because it's not available in Turkey right now. And also, I think there was some good points brought up previously about the geographical perks of it. There are some countries where $8, I mean, in Turkey, that's 150 lira. That's a lot of money. And it's not necessarily going to be available to everybody. So for me, it doesn't make sense to go and get this tick mark. But again, that's me. I really don't care what anybody else does. If you want to do it, you got to do it. Luckily, if you click that tick, it says where it came from. There's no confusion as to how people got the check mark. It's a different verification check than the people who have spent 20, maybe not 20 years. I don't think Twitter's been around that long, but spent a lot of time building their brand or their influencing or whatever it may be. So there's no confusion there. I think one other point that's important to bring up is we all have read about Elon Musk. Like, we all know very well the path of fire that follows behind him wherever he goes. So I think that we're also aware of the fact that Twitter is hemorrhaging money right now. And this is obviously a way to kind of turbo boost their revenue and get a lot of money from people that were previously not spending anything to use the service. So it makes sense from a business perspective, but also I think things are going to be changing a lot more than just the verification mark. There are going to be a lot of changes with Twitter in the near future, and this is just the first bump in the road. So I'm going to just hold on to my shoes and wait and see what happens, because this to me just feels like the beginning of a lot of other things. And Ella, you brought up a great point, which is that Twitter is no longer public, it's private. So a lot of the financials are not going to be publicly accessible, which means that there's going to be a lot more changes than I think any of us are anticipating. And we're not really going to know about it until it happens. But that's my perspective. I really don't care what anybody else does. Props to you. And if it does become available in Turkey, one day there might be a check next to my name. Who knows? We'll see.
Trey, it's really important. Great perspective as always. It's really important to point out that they have said the cost will be adjusted based on the cost of living in different countries. So it won't be the equivalent of $8 in Turkey. It will be what the purchasing power of $8 is in Turkey, but adjusted for Turkish lira. I don't think I explained that right, but anyway. Hype, you wanted to respond, and then to Mike. I've literally got a minute left, so be quick, guys.
Yeah, I guess I'll try to choose a closing thing. But anyways, yeah, I love Rabid's point. Do you know what I'm saying? I wish that the blue check mark, I wish we lived in society where it was more like we could just have a platform where it's like that. I think, yeah, like Web 2 is coming to an end, right? Facebook has lost 80% of its value. They've laid off so many staff. Like Google is struggling. All of these Web 2 companies are struggling, right? And we've existed in a world where we've got used to using these platforms and giving away our data for free, and we are the product, right? So I'd be happy to pay for a service such as Twitter if there's my favorite social media platform. If I know I can pay money to be on it, and I know that my data is not being scraped, I'm supporting the server costs or whatever it is for that platform to exist. I think Elon knows that I mean, as they've had Twitter Blue already for a year, and I guess they've not had enough like signups. But now, you know, Elon knows as well. I hate Elon, right? I'm not no Elon fanboy. I'm not sitting here like, oh, Elon's a genius or anything. But I do think it is like it is kind of telling that they've had so many signups now that they've given away the badge, right? And they're giving away this status symbol. You know, I've hated like it's democratizing, and it's actually the other way. It's not the other way around of like it being like, oh, it's unfair that you can pay $8 and get it, because again, like before, the cost of entry was way higher, right? And so I think like, yeah, it's really annoying for me to see accounts that like don't work as hard as I do, don't provide as much content as great content as I think I do, like we talked about earlier, like real collectors and influencers, whatever. And so yeah, I think like, let's see where this goes. But yeah, thank you for the conversation. And yeah.
Cool. I'm so sorry, guys. We are out of time. Bryony, I see your request. I'm really sorry I couldn't get you up because we're just out of time. So I'm really sorry about that. Mike, do you want to say one last word and then we'll close?
Yes. If paying $6.99 or whatever the fee is by some people will make this platform to stay when we don't have to go somewhere else and learn again how to do algorithm, I'm happy to take that. Whatever people think, if I'm having it for status, I don't give a toss. If we can keep it going, the environment that we're in, and we're comfortable and we're kind of cracking it, let's do it.
And I think that's exactly where I want to leave it, because a business that's losing 4 million a day is not going to stay a business for very long. And like him or hate him, Elon knows what he's doing. The previous management of Twitter, frankly, clearly did not, if they were losing that much money for that long. But anyway, on that cheerful note, we are going to have to cut it there. Fantastic conversation. Huge thanks to all the speakers. I think I've followed you all back. And yeah, the conversation will continue. I can't do a space on Sunday, but I think, Mike, you're planning to do one on Monday. Is that right?
Yes, Monday at 3 p.m. We can
3
continue.
p.m. London time. We'll continue. And that's 10 a.m. EST for those of you in the States. So see you on Monday afternoon, 3 p.m, guys. Mike will be hosting. All right. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.